people, this is FurCPhoto here. Let's play the obligatory game of Can you hear me? Can somebody please send me a message and tell me if you can hear me, if you can hear the music, if it's not too loud and so on and so forth. Hi. Okay, I'm silent because I'm still hoping that someone I'm not heard as clearly as I was hoping. Let me see if I can do something about that. If somebody has experience with streaming, which is something I'm not really doing very often, I would very much appreciate any tips for setting this stuff up before I start. I have no idea how to make the microphone stronger. Hello and welcome. Okay, is it better now or am I still difficult to hear? I think I will maybe kill the music. It should make it easier to hear me. And I'm wondering if I should start or if I should wait for somebody to confirm that you can hear me. No, it's not getting better. Okay. What can I do? No, this is probably not going to help me. I guess I will just try talking louder, maybe it will help. Okay. If at any point you will decide that you can't hear me, just please tell me. I will try to do something about it. I will start for now, and we will see how it goes. So, I have some 30 something pictures here which I'm going to edit and comment a little bit. I'm very happy to go into details if you ask me questions, but otherwise I'm just going to proceed with my usual workflow. The pictures are from a fur icon called Kras, which has Western theme, and they are pretty random. I was wandering around the place and grabbing whoever was available for some photos. So we are going to see several fursuiters here. This is the very first picture I've taken, and it's actually not my picture. I've stolen it from someone. And there is something weird here which I'm going to get rid of by cropping it off. The background is very dark, so let's do something about that to start with. Fight fursuits with a lot of sun, so let's see. This is getting them too gray, so let's choose something in moderation. And I will bump the contrast a little bit by making black a lot blacker, maybe add a little bit of light in overall, which is again making them too white. And this is something you will see me doing a lot. I'm making something, basically darkening the backgrounds in a very simple way. It's like artificial vignetting. So yeah, I think I'm actually kind of satisfied with this. Maybe I will bump light a bit more. Okay, so this is a random quick group photo somebody was taking, and I have stolen it from him. And now I'm going to move to two photo shoots I've actually orchestrated myself. By the way, once again, if you want to ask me any questions, if you want to make any suggestions regarding the edits I'm making, I'll be happy to read them on the chat. This is Hatari. The shooter is Werewolf66, and he has some really cool props. This is why I've grabbed him. He's got this gun, which is totally fake. It's 3D printed, and these are just some two metal tubes. And he's got his poncho, the scarf, so I really wanted some pictures of him because he's looking super cool. This is very obviously tilted. Let's see if I can straighten it a bit. Yeah, this is definitely going to be better. I'm absolutely loving the hanging plants around. There's a bit too much light. It was still, it's not my favorite time. It was just overexposed, as I see. Not my favorite time for photography. There was a lot of sun, but I was pretty sure I would be able to do something about that. So let's see. Yeah, I think this is going to work. And let's do the artificial vignetting once again. So as to make him pop out of the picture a little bit. I still don't like this light area, so I will selectively darken it. It's drawing too much attention for my liking. Yep, I definitely like it better this way. I will do the same to this building. Maybe also here. Let's make it a bit darker. I'm not sure about this thing. I could try cropping it off, but I hope that the crop won't get too tight. Yeah, I think this is kind of fine. Let's see what happens if I make it a little bit cooler. Yeah, it was a good idea. It was too yellow. I had that feeling. The paws are obviously still yellowish, but I think that if I try to use them as source of yellow, it's going to get all... Actually, it doesn't. I was expecting it to get all blue, but it didn't. I think I kinda like it this way. I might add a little bit more vignetting because I would like the surroundings to pop out all the more. I mean, to be darker, to have the fursuiter pop out all the more. Yeah, that there is a visible halo around his head, but it's actually only visible when you compare with the original picture. I think this is actually pretty cool. What do you think? Does the halo bother you? I will see eventually. Anyway, maybe, yeah, I think I also dislike this very white fabric. Maybe I will use new brush for it because it will need a lot of highlights reduction. Should be better, at least somewhat. And let's move to the next picture. I will see about clarity. It's a good idea. Maybe a little bit of dehaze. It always darkens the background. Yep, I think I like it this way. We'll see if I can get anything out of pumping the colors. Not really. I'm pondering maybe slightly desaturating the roof because it's too orange. It's drawing more attention than I appreciate. So let's reduce it a little bit. should do. Now he's more drawing more attention. I have a question if the stream is going to be saved. I'm not sure. I'm pondering making it available to patrons, but maybe it will stay public. I will decide eventually. It's already processed, and maybe it should be a little bit less yellow. It was kinda fun to use this as a prop. There was a reward sign, reward poster for the dog, so I photographed him glaring at the wanted poster, but because it was really cool, I will show you the original. It's not so different. It was originally a bit less contrasty and a bit darker, so after processing it, I've got it to this state. I'm welcoming my fifth viewer. Anyway, let's move on. This is again the dog. I was really fond of him, and I'm not entirely comfortable about the way this is not even. I'm having a strong feeling that actually this is a perspective verb. I will see if I can. Yeah, automatic should mostly do the trick. So this is more more straight. I'm liking it much more this way. And okay, it seems that I'm now more understandable. So let's see. This picture is mostly too dark. So let's again brighten it a little. Maybe I will just pump the whole picture up, because a part of the very bright areas with a lot of sun is actually all dark. So let's pump up the contrast. Now I can actually see something. Let's see about the bandage. I'm just checking if I have the eyes sharp. As long as you can see the structure of the fabric, it's obviously well focused. I can see some chromatic aberration here. If you see the purplish tint, that's a problem with lens, which are distorting like this. Lightroom actually has a tool that should be able to deal with it. So now you can't see the purple. Hello, Andracheto. The purple hue anymore. And I'm not sure if I like this. I really don't. It's a flare of sorts, but not the kind I would appreciate. So let's see if I can darken it a bit. Yeah, I think it's looking better like this. The haze is meant to remove haze, so it should work here, and I don't want to change the saturation. Okay, it's just looking, well, the haze is still there, but I guess it will stay there. I'm a bit bothered by this thing. I'm not sure if I'm going to remove it, but for the sake of demonstration, when it comes to retouching, I can't recommend using Lightroom. It has a retouching tool, but I used to be using it before I got access to Photoshop, but it's incredibly clumsy, slow, inaccurate, everything you don't want. So whenever I have to retouch, I'm going for Photoshop, which among other things has this nifty fill, content ever fill option. So let's see how it will deal with this thing. I think this is decent enough. Sometimes it needs a bit of help, but in this case, actually I don't like this. There is a bit of a distortion, so let's deal with it. And this was better, now it isn't better anymore. I will smoothen it up again. Okay, I think I like it like this. The disturbing object here. Yep, it's a Western action. It was an event called Crass, and it ended few days ago, specifically on Sunday. So it's like 4 or 5 days ago. So I've removed the disturbing thingy, and let's see. I'm still not quite satisfied with the darkness. So let's lift it. Let's return a bit of contrast. This is maybe too much contrast. I don't know. Is it? I think I like it this way. Let's brighten the whole picture, and let's see what happens if I move the white balance a little bit. I think this is actually pretty cool. So this is the original, and this is the resulting edit. You may notice that I'm having a limited number of pictures here, only like 32 out of 300. The first part I'm doing with every edit is choosing the pictures which are worth editing, which means going through all the pictures. I'm taking a lot of similar or almost identical pics to choose the best one, but it's super boring. I hate it myself, and I definitely didn't want you to watch me going through it because it takes ages. And the reason I mentioned it is I'm going to get rid of this one by giving it 1 star, so it doesn't get in my way. This is a picture I was pretty fond of. Specifically, I was fond of the columns. I always like this kind of repeating pattern. The thing that really irks me, can somebody tell me about sound, because Peter is sending me messages that the sound is changing wildly, and because he's almost the only one that is talking with me, I'm not sure if the rest of you can hear me clearly or not. Would somebody please write me into the chat? I will try blowing into the mic, which is probably going to create a horrible sound, so please excuse me. And let's see if it's going to get better or not. Anyway, back to the picture. First thing, again, I see some sort of perspective distortion, which may still be here, so I'm going to go for guided perspective correction. I will just choose something that is clearly vertical, and draw 2 lines, and Lightroom is going to straighten it up for me. Yeah, I think this is looking better. And the main problem here was I didn't find any better angle, and the background is very bright. Okay, so Draketo confirms the problem with my voice. I'm pondering how to make it louder. I will see if I can do anything about the microphone here. Doesn't look like I can. Okay, I will try this. Also, I wonder. How about now? Have I improved anything? I think I can see something interesting. 1, 2, 3. One, two, three. Oh, my PC is making sounds. That was not intended. I've tried to bump the sensitivity of the mic, and I'm hoping that maybe it has helped. I will let you eventually answer because I guess there is some latency. And in the meantime, so once again, too bright background, too dark person, subject of the photo, which is always a problem because people are natively looking at the bright areas first. So first things first, I'm going to darken everything except of the dog. There will probably be a bit of a halo, but I'm going to live with that. I will darken the area in the back. I will bump the shadows. And I'm going to lift the exposition of the whole picture. And it looks like I can actually darken the surroundings even more. This way he's literally in the spotlight. It looks a little bit unrealistic because he should be darker, but now he's the brightest thing in the area, and that's exactly what I want, because this way he should hopefully draw all the attention. Okay, this brightened the background again. That's not exactly what I wanted. Let's darken everything, and I think I will brighten it a little bit more, and I will bump shadows even more, and I will darken everything. So let's see the difference. I think this is definitely better. Maybe I will toss this picture eventually because I'm having something very similar here, and once again I think it's slightly tilted. I'm not sure if it's tilted or if it's perspective distortion. It seems to be mostly just tilted, so I will work with this. The problem is very similar to the previous one, so once again I'm going to darken everything with exception of the subject pretty aggressively. I will darken the most bright areas, and now that I have it pretty much even because he's just as black as everything else, I'm going to add a lot of exposition, and that way he's going to get into the light. I'm pondering if I like the shape here. Can I get any opinions in that regard? Does it bother you that there is the roof here? I think I will go with removing it, and I think I will further darken the areas which are too bright. I kinda like shadows in my pictures, but I think I like shadows better than these super white areas. Let's go to them too great away now. I don't like that. This is fine. So that's another dog. Let's move on. This is a picture which I'm not super sure about, but I wanted something where he isn't taking most of the place. It is again the same problem as on the previous pictures. Oh, I see I've been already doing this. There is too much light everywhere, so I'm going to get rid of it, even it out. You can see some light remaining here because I used the circle filter, so right around him it didn't do anything. And let's bump the exposition, and let's bump the contrast, and I'm not super excited about it, to be honest. I think I will just toss the picture. I really wanted some picture where he isn't all over the picture, but this one just doesn't really speak to me, so I'm going to toss it. And we are moving to another dock. This is Mafik, and as you can see, I've stolen the gun from Werewolf to be able to give it to Mafik or to anyone else that I'm going to meet. One thing that really bothers me about this picture: 3D eyes. I have personal vendetta with 3D eyes. They are looking at you. Whatever the person is doing, they are always looking at you, and this makes absolutely no sense in this case because he's supposedly aiming, and instead of aiming, he's actually looking into the camera. I'm pondering maybe tossing this picture as well because it just doesn't make any sense. Let's see. I will try to brighten it a little bit. It's supposed to be like a cowboy. I don't know what he's doing, defending the city, something like that. I will keep it, but I'm not really very fond of this picture, to be honest. For the eyes just don't work for me at all. I will try to bump the contrast a bit more. I'm having quite a lot of pictures of him in the grass, and I'm soon going to move to ones which are in a lot more interesting grass with counterlight, and I think those are actually going to be a lot more interesting. I will show you a very useful trick. When you are having two pictures which are very similar, you can just use this sync button and use it for syncing the main values. So as you can see, having pretty good result with just one click. It's way too dark. It's too bright. I hate this stick here. I'm not sure if I want to remove it by cropping, or I think I can crop it. I was pondering retouching it, but I think I can go without that. This is decent. It's looking fine. The grass here is obscuring the gun, which is not exactly ideal. Good enough. Normally I'm taking pictures from the front. I can't be hurt again. Shucks. I would appreciate if somebody else told me his feelings about whether he can hear me or not, but I guess you are not very keen to fuck with me. I mean, talk with me. If it's happening when I'm switching pictures, it may be caused by the computer just getting busy with doing whatever it is. If at the moment when I'm opening Lightroom because I've accidentally closed it, if it distorts my voice, that's definitely the case. So back to this picture. Normally I'm taking all pictures from the front because eyes, because you just want to see face. But this sunlit grass really looked like it would be good for leaving picture, the cowboy walking out into the sunset. Basically, it is sunset, in fact. Let's see what I can do here. Maybe slightly, or not so slightly, overexposed. So let's reduce it. Now we can see the individual grass. This is looking great. What is not looking great is I'm still having relatively little contrast, which I've just mended. And maybe a bit more yellow, because for a sunset it's surprisingly desaturated. This is looking really good. When you're having strong sun and shadows in one picture, the shadows are always going to be much bluer than the rest of the picture, which is sometimes fine, sometimes it may bother you. I'm going to see what happens if I make them a little bit yellower. I think it will actually make the picture better, including the dog himself. As you can see, I'm not being super careful, because if I have missed a point, it will be barely visible. The change is fairly subtle. Let's see what happens if I go further. Yeah, I think I like it like this. I will try to remove it here. Oh, this is too obvious. Okay, I think this works, and I'm going to see what happens if I just synchronize with these two, which are very similar. I'm having more background here and background with some light. I've definitely made this one too dark, which can be very easily mended though. And I will add to the light, because it's dark in general. Let's go like this. This is too much. Actually, it's not too much. It's just right. What I'm going to do is I'm going to darken the area around him, because he's too dark. Anybody's got any questions so far, or suggestions of what I should do differently? Yeah, I think I kinda like this result. I may go even further with darkening the surroundings and pumping up the exposition, so that I see more of the dog. This is looking good. I can't see any color fringing, so this is pretty fine. I will reapply it here. Too bright, because I forgot about the darkening, so let's mend it. And let's brighten it a little bit. I have to say that I'm really fond of what R6, my new camera, allows me to do regarding the dynamic contrast. I can go very far pumping the exposition without ruining the picture, which is super cool. I was originally not entirely happy about the new camera, because I was used to DSLR, and this new one is mirrorless. And we have been I didn't want this. We've been struggling a bit at first, but when I got used to it, I'm suddenly super happy about the camera. A bit more light. I think this should work. What happens if I pump vibrance? Looking good. Maybe a little bit yellower. Oh no, this is too much. Something in between would be nice. I've heard about the new release of Lightroom. I'm mildly curious about it. The thing is that when it comes to masking, I'm most likely to switch to Photoshop anyway. I can understand the possibilities. Did you know that you can move this pin and then you are moving the changes you have made? I haven't yet encountered a situation where it's good for anything, but I sometimes grab it accidentally and ruin the edit. What happens if I make this a bit darker? No, not a good idea. I don't like switching to Photoshop unless I have to, because it takes ages. So at some situation I can imagine that the automatic masking in Lightroom might be super useful, but as you can see, you can get very good results with just making a circle filter or gradient filter. This is obviously too much. Completely changes the color, but I liked the way that it changed the color of the grass. Maybe if I just go much more subtle. Yep, this is looking good. This is also looking maybe too yellow and too bright. Yeah, this looks good. Okay, out of the grass we go. This is a dam which we ran into, and this picture is honestly pretty horrible. I was trying to find a way to photograph him with the countryside backside. We are having a lot of fun with bark beetle. You can see the destroyed forest here. Looks super romantic. Anybody feels like this picture is worth editing, because to be honest, I'm in favor of just tossing it. It doesn't really speak to me very much. Anybody likes it? If so, please write me in the chat, and if you don't, I'm going to just get rid of it. I will move to the next one in the meantime. This always works. It's super cheap, but it always works. Having your camera in sharp angle towards something which is flat, and going for very wide aperture, because then everything is going to just smoothen out into this soup-like effect, and you're going to have just your subject sharp. One thing that was super irking me when I was photographing, what the hell is this? I don't want to know. When I was photographing, this part of the dam was really irking me, because it just sticks out. It's huge and white and ugly. I was pondering if I should retouch a bit, but I don't think I'm not going to do it. I will just do it like this. It's not going to be as nearly as symmetric as I would like. I think I can live with it. So maybe a little bit brighter, a bit more contrast. Definitely reduce highlights. This looks like it's going to be really easy. A little bit brighter. Some clarity which I add to almost all my pictures. Yep. So nobody seems interested in this one, so I'm going to toss it. Never be afraid to get rid of a picture. Less is more. Obviously, this was a picture about paws. Maybe I should have focused on them instead of the eyes. So I'm going to... It's not very symmetric, which... Yeah, paws. I knew that you are going to like them. I know some people that would appreciate it that they are dirty, and I know some people that definitely wouldn't appreciate that. but getting there it was pretty far. Mafik is special in being very willing to go with me somewhere with no guarantee of any good result, and he still follows me, and usually he gets something good. Let's do it like this. Starting to look a little bit surreal. It's too bright, the background is too dark. So let's just leave it like this. It almost always works, the artificial vignetting, but sometimes it just makes it feel like he's sitting in front of a wallpaper. So I think I will just leave it like this. I will see if I can add a little bit of yellow. I can. Let's do it for both or not. Yeah, this works, I think. A little less light maybe. Yep. It kinda looks a bit like wallpaper anyway, because there is only sharp area here. I think I can live with that. Yeah, another one of similar kind. I kinda like the lines. So let's one again synchronize. It's going to save a lot of time. I think it's tilted a little bit. It was. This is ugly. Maybe I will get rid of it later if I'm not lazy. Okay, let's not be lazy. Yeah, sorry. The thing is that when I'm focusing on what I'm actually doing, I tend to get a bit drony, robotic with my voice. I will try to make it a bit more interesting. Thanks for the feedback. Actually, this is something I need constantly to be reminded about. I don't like this. There is some obvious pattern, so let's give it one more chance. Maybe if I just have it do it again. Yeah, this is fine. Remove the pattern. So let's save it and return back to Lightroom. And that's it. I don't think this picture. Oh no, this is too much. This is definitely too much. I don't think this picture needs any more editing. He's just sitting somewhere looking happy, looking into the camera. This is almost identical with the previous one. The only thing I really like here is the flare. The flare is great, but the picture is shitty. Let's toss it. Not liking it. And some movement finally. A lot of my pictures are very static because they are static. I just put people somewhere, make them sit there or pose there. So I had him running a little bit. Paw, Brachetto. I hope that you are appreciating the paw. One thing that really bothers me here is the lamp. I will see if I can do something about it. As for removing stuff in Photoshop, if you are having the latest version, it's super easy. Like, it can't be any easier. You just take a lasso and you mark the area that you want to get rid of. You hit delete key and it will allow you fill content aware, and it will do its best to just make up something that is going to fill the area. and it's not perfect. As you can see, there is a lot of head remaining, especially when you are in a situation where it's connected to something like this. But you can repeat the process and it will eventually shrink and shrink and shrink, and at some point you will end up with something like this. It doesn't work very well when you are having something. It can't make up a good ending of the head. You would have to work with clone tool and somehow finish the picture. I'm being super crude here. I would need better pattern. But as you can see, I can just remove his head within like 5 seconds. It works perfectly for things which are disturbing in sense of something that is sticking inside a large area, like the houses here, because then it just takes the surrounding forest and it tries to make up some sort of shape. The only problem that it often has is creating this kind of repeating pattern. You can see that he's taken something here and it repeats over and over and over and over. And if you want to get rid of it, you can either just try again. You randomly put something there, or you can try patch tool. Patch tool is trying to put some sort of shape into the area that will fit with the colors, and it's perfect for this kind of situation. But anyway, I already have this saved. Delete. If you use delete, it will open the fill option, and it's really super easy. It's not completely omnipotent. In some situations, you will see. I wonder why you are seeing what you are seeing. You are not seeing it anymore. It's not omnipotent. Sometimes it creates really weird shapes. Then you will have to use some more advanced tool. But when it comes to removing something disturbing which is in a larger area, it's super quick, super easy way to correct it. So back to this one. I'm probably going to do the same thing. I will start by removing the lamp because that lamppost is just, I hate it. It really doesn't fit there. In the upper area, I'm going to do exactly the same thing. I will just lasso it and have him fill it because it's no brainer. There is blue around, so he's going to fill it with blue. This part is a little bit tricky because I will see what he does. Maybe he will actually handle it. I'm saying he because in Czech it's he Photoshop. Not exactly what I wanted, but actually close enough. So let's see if I go like this. See you. Thank you for watching, Peter. This is actually fairly decent. And now let's get rid of this. This should also be fairly easy. Okay, fair enough. I might be willing to leave it like this, but I will try to get rid of it as well. And I'm just going to use clone tool. I will take pattern here using alt key, and then I'm going to basically paint it over. Again, the problem of this is that you're most likely going to create some sort of patterns because it's literally repeating the area I'm drawing from. And something to remember, the depth of field is sharply descending, and there's also some perspective difference, and this is why I'm going sometimes from this direction and sometimes from the other one, because because it's less blurry here and more blurry here. So if I take one from one direction and the other one from the other direction, it's going to preserve the depth of field. Let's do it like this. And I'm not sure I like this smudge here, so I'm just going to lasso it and have him content fill it. And once again, I'm not sure if I entirely like this weird blob here, and I like it now. So if you compare, this is before, this is after. It didn't really take much time, and in my opinion it was really super ugly and super disturbing, so I'm really glad to be rid of it. Now let's tighten this up a little bit. I think I'm going for symmetry. This is fine. A bit more contrast, a bit more shadow filling. It's generally dark. You can see it on the histogram. I will very carefully darken the area around him. By the way, if I start droning again, I will be very grateful if somebody tells me that I'm doing it, because it's just something that happens to me when I'm focusing on something else. I wonder where this comes from. Maybe actually it's a shadow of Mafik himself. No idea, never mind. Anyway, I'm liking it like this. Maybe a little bit more. No, that was definitely too much. I like it like this. Here is again some building, and I'm going to leave it there. I'm not interested in doing anything about it. I definitely don't want to see the photo. And this has already been processed. It's a bit HDR-ish, even though it's actually not HDR. I just wanted to have a picture of the countryside, and you can see there was a lot of lumberjacking, whatever is it called. Just they had to destroy a lot of the forest really because of bark beetle. Suggestion from Dracheto, photoshopping him under his paw. If you send a little picture of you, maybe I will just photoshop you in there. We have been returning home here, and I loved the grass, which you can see here, because I went so low that it's not visible. But anyway, I really like the atmosphere of this little grove with these wonderful trees. I will see what I can do about this blotch. I will try to make it more subtle. This is too subtle, I guess. Let's add some contrast to start with. Yep, it's now shaping out nicely. Dehazing a little bit, which again adds some contrast. This is looking pretty good, and I definitely want more yellow because it's supposed to be a sunset. Now it's nice yellowy sunsetty. Maybe a little bit of white. This is looking great. There's something wrong with the colors, but I'm not entirely sure what. Let's see what happens if I try to use this. No, that was not a good idea. But I have the feeling that maybe it's too purple. I will try reducing the purpleness. Actually, no, I like it. It is a little bit too purple, but I like the purpleness in the end. It's looking pretty damn good. I will darken the area. No, I won't. I wanted to, but it's looking good to me like this. I will maybe darken the bottom of it, because that's not important. I don't need to draw attention to it. And maybe I will darken the top a little, especially with some highlights, because I want the sky to be a little bit darker, making it less pro something less visible. I don't want it just to stick out so much, and I'm loving this. It might be worth playing with the colors a little bit, which is best done in Photoshop, but like I said, I'm lazy to go there. Let's see what happens if we make the shadows a bit bluer and the highlights a bit more orange. Okay, I think I'm going to go into Photoshop after all. This is dual toning or color grading tool in Lightroom, which was pretty cool before. Then they improved it, and now I just don't know why, but it doesn't work for me for some weird reason. I will just play with gradient map here. I will see if I like the results. Gradient map creates a color map based on bright and dark areas. So as you can see, whatever is bright is now going to be super orange, and whatever is blue is going to be super blue, which would be fairly cool, but obviously we really don't want it like this. So I will switch this to soft light. Now it's too strong, but that can easily be reduced to, let's say, opacity is 33. And now I'm actually liking it quite a lot. And I will try one more thing. The things I'm doing now are something you may use at your own risk, because I'm not proficient with it. I'm just trying some stuff which I've learned and which sort of works. I will make a new layer and I will make gradient. What I've done is basically just a big orange blotch. I think the orange should be brighter, maybe. Yep. And once again I'm going for soft light, so it's going to create a feeling of the shining sun, which actually is there, but it's going to get a lot more shiny. Now it's kind of weird that he's not orange as well, so I'm going to experiment a little bit again. No guarantee what will it do. This is definitely a bad idea. No, I don't like it. Maybe. And the gradient. Oh, okay, this is too much. That's definitely too much. I like the sun, but I don't like how it doesn't fit into the picture. Let's see if it helps. Yeah, I think that if I reduce it, it's going to work exactly the way I want it. It's adding a bit of orangey glow. Actually, maybe I will add a little bit of orangey glow into the whole picture. Again, in form of soft light. And I will reduce the opacity to say 10%. It gives it a little bit of glow. Yep, I think I like it like this. I'm pretty sure there are some tutorials about what I was doing with the sun, and they are definitely going to give you better idea of how to do it than my experimenting, but I like it. Okay, this is maybe you have seen this picture. I've been shared recently, and it's already processed. I will show you the original. So you can see it's not all that different. I was just mostly adding colors, saturation, and a lot of orange color and a lot of contrast. So let's see. I'm having 5 very similar pictures here, and I'm definitely not going to edit them all because they are way too similar. This one is maybe too dark. Yes, it's too dark. Let's see what happens if I brighten it. I think I will get rid of it because there is a lot of growth here, and the light is hitting it, and I don't like the way it's hitting it. I much prefer when the light is falling on this side where there's just grass, which I don't really mind. He's looking kinda surprised here, and honestly, these pictures are very similar. I like this one a lot, but it really doesn't bring anything new. This one is moving. I'm loving that he's moving. And I kinda like this being vertical because it shows a lot more of the trees. On the other hand, it shows a lot less of the dock. So, which one should I go with? Suggestions welcome. Which one should I focus on? For the moment I'm silent, mostly because I'm trying to make up my mind which one I want. I'm liking the fact that he's moving, but honestly it would be very similar to this one, so I think I'm going to toss this one, and I'm going to work with this. You like all three? I also like, I actually like a lot of them. I've been photographing there a lot, and I mean a lot, including Muffy shooting somewhere, but those blasted 3D eyes again ruined this picture for me totally. Otherwise I would like it. I love how it's pointing. The one he banned, you mean the one that I've already processed, this one? If so, then obviously this is also my favorite, and I was working on it even before this stream because it was just so cool. Yep, it's hitting him perfectly there. I was super lucky. I was surprisingly lucky because the light was shining almost exactly through the whole hole in the forest, and it lasted for like 15 minutes, maybe 15 minutes, and I was there randomly. It wasn't super planned. I was just I had the feeling that it's going to look good there, but I was super lucky with the light. I will try what happens if I just copy settings, because it may actually give pretty good result. Plop. Yep, it's looking very good. I don't want so much grass, I want more of the trees. Now the color, the trees, I'm pretty sure I've added that in the color grading tool. So yep, as you can see, this is a way to make the background change color pretty strongly. And considering I'm having the orange light, which I'm going to make even more orange. The thing that I hate here, and which is much better, I think I'm going to go to Photoshop again. It lacks masking. I really like what it does to the backgrounds, but I would like to add a lot of wonderful orange light, but without making the whole dock orange, and that's exactly what's happening and what I don't like. Let's see. So I want this bluish or tealish maybe. Let's make it tealish and see what happens. Maybe a little bit darker. And let's make the light orange. And see the result when I use soft light. That's too strong. Now it's all very light. I think I'm going for a bit darker blue. Something like this. This is looking good. Maybe a bit more saturated. Perfect. And okay, I will pump opacity again. That's completely different than I expected. Maybe I will play with the colors a little bit more. To be honest, almost everything is looking good. The forest in the background is just so cool that whatever I do, it's looking super interesting. Even green is looking good. I love that place. Let's make it like this. And I'm going to use the mask. I've had some grayish color on the brush, and this is not brush, this is why it doesn't work. And I'm going to smudge it over him because it will lessen the effect of the colors on the dog. So you can see I've pretty much painted him in gray. And let's see the result. I'm actually loving this quite a lot. I think I'm going with this. The colors are a little strange. Maybe I will go for stronger orange. Yeah, I'm going for stronger orange. And to be honest, I think I'm going to pump the effect a little bit more again. Oh, this is too much. Actually, it's not too much. It's too dark. I will brighten it a little bit, and there we go. Okay. Is it similar to this? Let's see before and after. Maybe I've oversaturated it in the end. I will lessen the effect again. Let's go for 62. And wait till it saves, which just happened. It may be a little bit too dark, especially on him, so I think I'm going to do this again and brighten the whole picture afterwards, and we are having him here. I'm not sure how realistic it is. He may be a bit too bright, but I'm liking it. So that's another one. And we are having a body. I ran into him already getting out of suit, and I shouted at him to stop undressing because I need him for a picture. I was still carrying the gun, so the stolen gun was transferred to him. I will show you another trick which I'm using a lot in situations like this. I've messed up. It's askew. It's askew in a bad way. I don't like the way that I've tilted it. And I just don't have any space for cropping. And actually the thing I shown you with the content over fill can be done when you are cropping. So you tilt it the way you like it. This way I'm having the columns vertical as I want them. And I'm not trying to cut off his ear. I will check content over here and let Photoshop do its magic, and it will do something. Sometimes it's great, sometimes it's horrible. In this case I would say it's perfectly passable. So I was able to straighten the picture without losing the area around the ear, which was getting too tightly cropped. This is the original. Let's get rid of it. And let's play with this one. Same problem as previously. I'm wondering if I should maybe crop the right side off a little bit. Maybe I should have done it before in Photoshop, but I will just now you know. I will just try to darken this a bit because it's definitely way too bright, and it's drawing way too much attention, and I don't like it. If I'm especially mean, I may at some point copy this there because it's really too bright. Let me take a look at it. in theory, I could try having it paint the area here. I could do something like this, but of course it will have no data for making this up, so it will probably make some rubbish. But I'm seriously pondering that maybe I would copy this, or maybe let's see what happens if I just do this. And let Photoshop. Oh, no, this is not a good idea. Actually, it is largely a good idea. It has used a very passable pattern. No, this is not going to work. I could definitely use some of the background. Maybe let's try this. Oh, it's going to be too dark. Yeah, that's exactly what happens sometimes if you try to abuse these tools too much. I will try what happens if I use the patch tool. Let's just make proof of concept, and if it works I will use it more. Ah, this is actually not bad at all. So let's do it this way. I will start at the top. No, I don't want the roof there, thank you very much. And let's do the same thing here. This is not really fitting in very well, but let's see. No. I think for a casual observer it's going to be fine. The main thing... Oh, okay, this is not going to be fine. The main thing that is going to catch eye at this point is this pinkish blob, because it's really very repetitive. So let's find something to replace it with. The main problem with this is you're having this the borders remain visible, so I'm trying to break them, and it's not going to look exactly great, as you can see, but it's possible. This is worse than before. Can't say I'm exactly happy about the result. Let's see what happens if I let Photoshop just content overfill it, which is definitely better. And here we go again. I returned the smudge. This is decent in my opinion. The column is now a little bit, how to put it, dissolved. Honestly, it's much more dissolved than I would appreciate, but I think it's going to work. I will try what happens if I just grab this whole thingy and replace it with this. Far from perfect. I think this is the point where I'm not going to continue. I should, or I could and probably should play with it for quite a while, and I would definitely be able to get better result. But to be honest, the picture is not so great that I would be willing to play with it any further. So let's settle for what I've created. And honestly, most people that are going to just see it on internet are going to be looking at body and won't even notice anything strange here, and those who will probably won't say anything. I'm not going to use this for calendar or something, because there on a big print it will be very visible, but for a casual picture this is good enough. And I'm doing the same thing that I've been doing on the previous pictures. Again, I'm trying to make sure that the picture is even, that the dog is either the same luminosity or even slightly brighter than the background, because that way he's going to draw the eye, which is what we want. Let's pump up some whites, let's pump up some contrast, but gently. A little bit of this, a little bit of that, and definitely a little bit of yellow. And voila, I think this is fine. So that would be body. And another body. Similar problem, but the brightness is not so strong, so I will be able to work with this. Again, it's tilted, which is sometimes cool, but I don't like it here, so let's try to straighten him up like this. And here we go, a bit of contrast. Obviously there's a lot of light coming from here, so let's darken it from this direction. Let's reduce the highlights, let's pop up the dog. Maybe let's slightly brighten from this area, because it's really dark. This should work. Now let's brighten it all, and some more popping of the dog, because it's not sufficient. The surroundings are still very bright. I will selectively darken everything except of his head, and there we go. Dehaze, clarity, a bit of yellow, and it's before and after. As you can see, I'm always trying to make sure that the dog is brighter than the rest of the picture, and ideally more contrasty, because that way the audience is going to look at the dog first and then at the areas around, whereas if you leave the bright areas somewhere else, especially in the background, then it's going to be attracted to the background first, and you don't want that. Here is the pretty much the same picture. Again, columns. I'm addicted to columns and to anything that repeats itself. I would like it to be symmetrical, even if it means I will have to crop off a little bit of this, which is a pity. Maybe I will just go like this. I don't need to crop it off, all of it off. I will go like this. Again, the same problem. We are having a very dark dog in a picture with a very bright background. So again, I'm going to darken everything else. I'm going to remove highlights. I'm going to darken these areas specifically. I could and maybe should do it in Photoshop, but at this point I'm too lazy. But I definitely should have used highlights. Now it's not nearly as bright. Let's brighten it. Again, I can see some darkness from this direction, so I'm going to dodge it. What I'm basically doing now is evening the picture out, making sure that there are no super bright or super dark areas, and then I'm going to play with the contrast a little bit because I've removed most of it. Even more brightness. Once again, let's make it more yellow. Let's put in some dehaze. I think the bottom could use a little bit of darkening, which is because there is light coming from behind me, and he's hidden in the shadow of the terrace, so I will darken this. And once again, before and after, you can see the attention is on the dog. 3 more pictures to go. I'm tired. Are you? How long have we been here? Almost 90 minutes. I think that we should be done in those 90 minutes. Here's a typical pose of the FurCPhoto pointing a gun at me, which is something that some people scolded me for, because you must never point a gun at anybody, even if it's just a toy. So my opinion is I don't care. Let's darken everything. Let's add a lot of yellow. Let's darken this as well. And this is too much, but this is just right. Looking great. Simple enough. Okay, this looks great. This is Bruce. Bruce was also returning home. Oh shit, what is this? I was hoping that I managed to avoid this monstrosity. I definitely wanted a Wild West rifleman with a flower pot snail thingy, whatever. Let's see if I can get rid of it. I can't, or I can, but I don't want to get rid of the stones underneath, which are pretty good. So I think I will go to Photoshop eventually. But first let's do the usual stuff. This is the problem with removing highlights, especially when you are having a white FurCPhoto. You are going to remove the whiteness from here as well, and you don't want that. I need a lot more yellow. This is too much, but just slightly. Okay, maybe it is too much. It also seems a little bit yellowish, I mean greenish, so let's add a bit of this. And I will selectively remove the highlights in the background, which are too sharp, and once again, oh, this isn't looking so good. Once again, they are stealing the attention from the dog, and that's not what we want. Too much light. I don't know what to do about it. I think I will just try to brighten the whole picture. I will try to darken every single part of the dog, just the same way that I've done before several times. It's pretty much my normal workflow. Yep, it's starting to look much better. Brightening shadows, adding even more contrast, a tiny little bit of highlights. Being careful with the whites. Okay, I don't have to be careful with them. That's too much. Some dehaze, some clarity. Yep, I think this is looking pretty good. I just want to get rid of those obnoxious things which are sticking into the picture from here. So I will see if it works. The content aware is going to have this kind of problem. For one, it created a perfect copy of this, which is not looking good, and it has added a lot of smudge, which would be working if the background was not sharp, but that's not the case here. I mean, if the area was not sharp, But that was not the case here, so we will have to find some way to get a proper stone in here. I will steal it from here. And we'll just pretty much copy it into this area. You can see some of the needles sticking out here, which we can't have because it's very obvious, so I will copy some extra here. That was too much. Not sure if I like it, but maybe I do. I will add some more stone in here. I may add some more needles that I will find on a stone somewhere, maybe like here. Looking better. Okay, let's try to get rid of this one. At worst, I can always crop, which I'm going to do, because again, things which are too sharp are very difficult to get rid of. Or maybe I will do some copying. The background looks like it could cover it quite well. I will destroy an innocent little plant here. And I will cover it like this. And there we go. Let's hope nobody is looking at the lower corner, which probably nobody will. If I was feeling super energetic, I might destroy this thing as well, but it doesn't bother me enough for that. So there we go. Let's see about this. Not good enough. Let's toss it. So that's it. It was very productive, almost 90 minutes. I'm offering a minute for any questions anybody might ask, and if I don't get any, I'm going to thank you and finish the stream. So let's give you half a minute. Half a minute will be enough. The thing is that there is some latency, so it will take a while till it gets to you. And I will use the half a minute for exporting all these pictures. No. Damn it. Seriously. Okay, thank you for watching. I guess this is all for the day. And that's it. You have been watching, and